Hello, welcome to Gold Squadron Podcast, Round 7, X-Wing World Championship 2019, Day 1B. We have 2 4-2 players, and if you've been following us at all, you know that the magic number is 5. 5 is in tomorrow, 3 losses goes home, winning in, right?
Absolutely.
I'm joined here, I'm so sorry, Joel. I'm joined here by my partner, Joel. Joel, we've had a long day of X-Wing, right?
Oh, it has been so long and so brutal. The level of play here is incredible. We have the best players from around the world joining us and competing at the X-Wing World Championships here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have, as you said, 2 4-2 players, and we're getting ready to watch possibly the most tense match of the entire game.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, these players, they've traveled here, right?
Yeah.
They took flights to Minnesota. They don't want to go home. They want to be playing tomorrow. They want to be a world champion, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm really excited about this list. We saw Chopper early on with Nathan Idy. It put in a lot of work. We're gonna see Chopper again, different version, right? On a Jedi. Some different upgrades here, like spare parts canister, Delta 7, and on the right we almost. Kind of a throwback, right? 2-ship list, Boba Fett. Talked to Fawn a little bit earlier. He's really excited to see another Boba Fett on the stream. Right here, Chopper, extra stress, looking for an evade token, right? And Joel, can you go over again, for those who haven't seen Chopper yet, we've only seen it once on stream, go over what Chopper does and what the kind of strategy that we've seen with Chopper.
Right, so Chopper is Wave 5 content, so that's kind of new, shaking things up. Chopper is a double-sided astromech upgrade card, and on the equip face-up side, he's got 2 charges, and you expend those charges to perform red evade actions. Those charges are non-recurring, and once you run out, you flip the card over. And on the back side of the card, what he does for the rest of the game is whenever you perform a maneuver, you have to jam something at range 0 to 1 of you.
Yeah, so that includes yourself. If you have no enemies in there, which is generally, look, you want to have the enemy in jam, right? But it could be you, it could be one of your ally ships, right?
So one thing that we saw earlier when we saw Chopper on the stream was target locks being applied to debris on the field from the other ships that the Chopper ship was likely to be near. So it would have places to shunt that jam off where it would be able to cancel out a lock that he didn't actually care about and still be able to keep the focus tokens that he did care about.
Right, and here we go. Jonathan target locking those debris here, probably in anticipation, right?
Right.
If that's the only token available, that's the only thing that gets jammed off. Important interaction here, Jammer gets to choose, right?
Right, Jammer does get to choose. However, another important interaction here is the fact that the jam happens when you execute the maneuver, right? So that's going to happen at Initiative 3 with this Jedi Knight. So that's going to be before either Boba or Finn has taken their action. And so if there is that lock on that debris, then it goes ahead and clears the lock, clears the jam, and then they don't have a jam and can take whatever action they want.
It's almost like it never happened, right? I think that's what Jonathan's banking in on. We've got kind of a little bit, I think, aggressive here. Jonathan turning in from his corner and Jake pushing the issue a little bit. So again, at Initiative 3, hits Finn or Boba, that's okay for Jonathan, especially in this first engage, right?
So one thing to look at here with Jonathan's list is that we have a really stacked Boba Fett, and Finn Rao is very light, just has crack shot, right? So he's, in a lot of ways, Finn is not really what you'd consider an ace ship, right? Like he has the repositions, he has linked actions with those repositions, but he can't get double reposition ever, and his ability really benefits from just being in range, close range with something and pounding it as hard as he can.
Right.
So really in this kind of list, Boba actually has the reactive ability to change his maneuver with Slave 1. He has the rear arc, so he gets to go in weird places where you don't really expect him to be and still have good shots. So Finn is almost the trading piece in this list, with Boba being the in-game ace.
Yeah, and for those curious, the list comes in at 182, bidding 18 points on here. Really committed to wanting to get the last on those I-6 and I-5. And again, Jake does have the initiative here, so Obi-Wan will move first. Sorry, initiative. First player token, as we call it now.
Yeah.
So one banking around Boba. Okay. Boba, they get looks like not leading towards this engage. That's where Jake's probably heading. Boba wants to come around. I think this is a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
At least to force the issue a little bit. You've got the arc here, a little bit harder to turn around. Yeah, and there you go. Right, Fenn's going to turn around here. We've seen it so many times. Start one direction, head towards the other once you get a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Barrel rolls away just for safety. So we're back to Dawes here.
I really like that barrel roll away with Fenn because one thing that you see a lot is when you're trying to skirt around and use an obstacle like this one right here for cover, if you're too close to it, you end up having no option but to come around it, and then you lose that cover.
Right.
But with staying farther away, he gets a lot of options to, he could one hard in here, he could two bank, he could even go faster with a three bank, and in all of those cases, he still gets to use that obstacle for cover in case we see really fast maneuvers out of these lead ships.
Something interesting I noticed, no chopper on this turn. Did get the chopper on the first turn, probably not anticipating choppering this early on, right? Wants to save it, because again, once that card flips, it's a mandatory effect.
Right.
Yeah, and we saw Nathan use this really well early in the day, where he timed up this jam perfectly. As soon as that card flipped over, immediately went into jamming the opponent, right?
Yep.
So Jake probably looking to do the same thing.
Yeah, this is a strategy with the card that we have seen twice now, where on the first turn they go ahead and expend the first charge, so that card is ready to go. You've got it primed basically, so that when you enter the first engagement, range 3 or maybe just outside of range 3, you go ahead and that's when you pop the second one, and that has two effects. One, it delays the mandatory jam until you're likely to be able to get into the proper range for it. And two, it helps ensure that the ship carrying chopper survives in order to make it into that range, because it's getting that evade.
Yeah. Can't chopper if you're off the board, right?
Absolutely.
A little bit committal here with the Jedi Knight. Coming through here is going to have to come around. Same thing with the arc here. This here, Rick, yeah, this is kind of what you expect here. Didn't really expect to go, right around there on the Jedi Knight, but fanning out really well, has coverage everywhere else, and I would expect Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan in the back there. Nice art there. Is that the Jedi? Is that a lightsaber right down the middle?
Yeah, I think that is the Jedi Order symbol.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jonathan, I think looking to engage, right? Yeah, we drew down that alley. I think he wants to go there. And again, Boba Fett, a lot of ships, you see a lot of range one shots. Boba Fett really doesn't cower away from that. Likes getting the rerolls, likes getting the punching, especially with someone like Fenn, who may be coming around to either back to flank or to follow up on some of those shots.
Yeah. Another thing to really keep in mind with looking at what options this Boba might use is one, that he's got Slave 1, right? So he wants to keep as much as possible when he's entering an engagement. He probably doesn't want to do it on a straight maneuver, right? He wants to do it on a bank or a turn so that he has an option to go a different way, right? Additionally, he really wants for someone to end up right behind him at some point, because he's got those proximity mines.
Yeah.
That if they end up right behind him, he just drops it straight on their face, and that's automatic damage.
Right. Something we didn't notice before, at least I didn't notice, spare parts canister on the Jedi Knight, right? And for those who have just started seeing spare parts canister, again, one charge, equip one to recover a charge on your astromech, or you can spend one to ditch all the locks on you, right?
Yeah.
And that's really key, because I think that second part not nearly as relevant as the first, right? Let's say Jake gets into a situation where he's ready, he has to jam now, chopper's turned over. Can he get that charge back, or is it already flipped?
That is a very interesting question.
Right.
Because the flip side of chopper may or may not have the printed value of the charges on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something really cool. But again, even without that, can ditch all the locks. All right, so it looks like we have shots here round one. 3 dice. So Obi-Wan reaching to see. That is a force token from all, so Bobo will have focus and force.
This looks like a range 3 out of Rick. And Rick went faster, so he gets his extra die.
Again, 3 versus 3. Yeah, and then we'll get the focus right back.
Yep.
Yeah, sharing dice here. 4 evades. Again, only can modify eye results.
And spending the force, 4/3 evades.
Yeah, so no damage there.
So Boba taking the return shot potentially.
Right. Again, the obstruction giving Rick so many dice. Just the one, unlikely to punch through any damage. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like this positioning for Rick because he has a lot of space to go fast in next turn.
So range looks like range 3 obstructed there with the Jedi. So double hit there.
And
yeah,
2 evades.
Good. Again, glancing range 3 shots, right?
Jake just seeing if he can plink and spare shield off. Or
Yeah.
2.
Now this one's a little bit scarier, right?
Yeah.
3v4, 3 foot with the oh, he doesn't need it.
Ooh.
Every time we talk about focus, right? Just turns out. Oh, yep. Natty invades in the chat.
Nobody
Safe
needs
as
anything.
always. Look, no one was clenched there, right?
If anybody tells you need to mod your dice, they're wrong.
Never, right? Look, it's not a problem if you roll natties, right?
Right.
I'm going to boost every time and not take focus because you know what? On the world stream, I saw natties.
Oh, absolutely.
And so determined I must not be very good if I'm not getting them.
Just roll better.
Yeah. All right, so where do you take Fen here? I think Boba's a little bit obvious, right?
Yeah.
And I liked your point on Rick. Being able to punch in 3 bank, right? Even a 4 straight and being able to maneuver after.
Yeah, you don't want to go fast enough that Boba jumps over you.
Yeah.
But you might want to do because the fire spray has a 3 hard, right?
I believe so. Oh, no, just the 2 hard,
no,
yeah.
3 hard, yeah. So doing a 3 straight might be fast enough here because it probably blocks the 3 straight from Boba. But I don't know, though. It's that medium-based magic. It'll fit.
Yeah. Now, how much of this comes down to just knowing this range and having just pure skill, and how much of this is down to you sizing up your opponent?
A lot of it depends. Like, personally, I don't do a lot of reading my opponent at the table. I focus my attention entirely on the board state.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have the skill of reading people and telling things about their intentions that way. But I've heard other people doing completely the opposite, right? Like they base their entire strategy around what they think the other guy's going to do, as opposed to what the board state's telling them the best thing to do might be.
And it kind of depends on how much you played in the past, right? Like, remember Pack South, we played twice, pre-cut and post-cut. A lot of that kind of came to my mind, and I was like, okay, Joel's going to maybe play a little bit defensively. So it definitely can slip in there, right?
Yeah,
but again, these opponents, I believe these are the first time they're playing each other, so might not be as big of a factor here. Arc closing in on Bobo.
Yeah, leaving the flank open to Fen, at least as far as the arc is concerned.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, Fen's a trade piece, right? I think Jake sees that too. Jake sees Boba as the win condition here. Target lock on the arc, and the Jedi
coming up here, probably expecting to see the second chopper come off at this point.
I would imagine so.
And there it is.
Yep.
There's that red evade action.
So from now on, you're going to see that erratic side of Chopper, right? Where it's just gotta jam. And again, this is the first round of real engagement, so good timing there from Jake. 3 bank there, yeah. Nice fit there. Boba goes the 1 or the 2. I think we're okay there. Yeah, focus evade.
But even if Boba goes slow here, then he just, he ends up here and then he just boosts out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's got that nice rear arc shot. And
Reroll.
And rerolls, and then he can drop his prox mine right there.
Yes, that's something I.
Oh.
One hard here.
Now he has Slave 1, so he could have gone the other way, but he is happy to come in and hug these ships for all the rerolls.
Do you think Jonathan sees this and says, hey, I really want to get the Jedi Knight off the board? Or is this more a play on the Arc and Obi-Wan?
Well, it's hard to say. It really depends on what Fenn is doing. And even with that 2 straight in, we'll probably see a focus boost in order to get that range 1.
Yeah. Look, Fenn doesn't want to be anywhere in range 2. Range 3, okay.
Yeah.
Range 1, really ideal, right? That's where Fenn really comes alive. And, yeah, you just called it. Boost, and if the table audio is correct, we'll get the focus. You know, this is exciting because going to this engagement phase, I don't know who has the edge right now.
Yeah, yeah. So Fenn is in a good position against the Jedi Knight.
Did I just hear the Arc?
Looks like Finn's going into the Arc.
Yeah, so 5. We'll have Fearless. Yeah, that's... Oh, no Fearless. You're right. That's right.
It's crack shot.
Just the crack shot. 1. Going to measure for the crack shot here. You really love the sportsmanship there. We're hearing on the table Jonathan asking Jake if it's in bullseye there. Jake saying, yeah, I think it's close enough. Jonathan's opting just to call the judge and get instead. Again, this is round 7. Win and in, winner goes home, right?
Yep.
And so really, I love that sportsmanship. When we can just hear that on the table, I think it feels really good inside, right? This is the way you should be playing.
So checking to see if this is also a important crack shot because there's a crit in there, and if he can get that extra hit, then it clears all the shields and the crit goes
and then
onto
the crit
hull.
goes through. Yeah, really interesting hat here. It's got the Steelers squadron on, Pittsburgh Steelers, but going with the Canucks hat, you know, not so sure about that. So yeah. So Jake agreeing, but then judge ruling not out of crack shot.
Okay.
Just the shields here.
All right. So then Jake's I5s. So Jake's 5s have a really good positioning to attack Fenn this round. Looking at range 2 from Rick, maybe range 3 from Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and opting here, Rick did go faster. We'll get Rick here, 3v3, range 2. Again, we just talked about Fenrir does not like being around at range 2. Double crit on the shield. And, you know, the chassis has no shields. And why were we worried in the first place?
You had a focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan again. Again, Jake, first player token. Yeah, range 3 here. We'll get 4.
Yeah. And another crit showing up.
Hit
Really
crit,
wants to
yeah.
avoid that crit here.
Clench?
And he does.
No. Why do we always clench? Why do we always think that's going to happen?
We've seen it on Soontier several times already today. All right, so going into the arc from Boba.
Looks like he has 2 rerolls, right?
Yeah, looks that way to me.
Yeah. So he's going to reroll these 2 blanks here. Has Maul, has the focus. Just 3. Oh, and there, yeah,
Oh,
the
there's
fearless
the
on
Fearless.
Boba. Oh, and taking all 4 there. That crack shot was so crucial there. Could have been extra damage. Could have been a crit direct hit. That'd be a dead arc, but now the arc gets to shoot.
Yes.
Jedi range 1 here. All right. Concord face-off should be okay. This
Oh,
one,
yeah.
yeah, face-off's
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
So this has worked out really, really well for Jonathan. You know, he managed to pull all of the fire into Fenn this turn, and you know we've kind of thought you know that Fenn wasn't really the end game for Jonathan. It was really Boba, and it's just happened to turn out that he didn't actually take any damage.
Right.
And so it's all of this has really tilted in Jonathan's favor for the first engagement.
Yeah, and again, great for Jonathan. I'm curious why Jonathan chose to go with the arc here, right?
Mhm.
Instead of focusing on the Jedi, right? Chopper's gonna have room for jam this turn again. There's no green, there's no tokens. Actually, no, there are the target locks from earlier on,
Yeah,
right?
so he's safe this turn.
This turn's safe. Next turn maybe, but Jedi Knight 3 agility, but only 4 health. Maybe able to take a ship off the board here. I'm really. I don't know if arc was the right decision. What do you think, Joe?
I think that all three of the small base ships don't have a large health pool, right? A little bit more in the case of Obi-Wan with the 7B.
Right.
But Boba has those proximity mines on
Yeah.
board, right? And so he can do 3 damage just automatically
That's
to
right,
somebody
yeah.
potentially. And but with the arc, he doesn't really have that option, right? Now, if he takes that off the board with regular fire and still keeps the proximity mines that heavily threaten the smaller ships, then Jake has to consider that when he's plotting the maneuvers for the small ships.
Right.
And that makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Puts a little bit more pressure on the squishier ships.
Jonathan again, palms down, surveying the board.
So this is where Boba likes to be. He's right in the middle of everything. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's Boba's tagline.
Now, do you see something like maybe trying a 3 bank to come over a little bit and get that back arc, or even something as much as little as a bump here and just saying, hey, I've got rerolls all day if you want to be around.
Yeah, the rerolls, having Maul Crew on board, so he has the passive force mod, right? Means that he's okay with taking a bump. But he also has that Slave 1 upgrade, right? So he has the opportunity to in certain situations to kind of opt out of any sort of bump that he wants to, as long as he plots a non-straight maneuver, right? In this case, he's got Fen right there in front of him and to the right. So maybe a 3 bank would clear that going up past Fen. So if he plots a 3 bank, then he would have the choice of ending up over here or ending up over there.
All right, and again, you've seen some things move. That's the key, right?
Yeah.
Looks like dials down just about the 50-minute mark here. Everyone making sure, right? Round 7, and those who are just tuning in, 5-2 makes it in, 3 losses out, and these players are 4-2 on the last round of the day. A lot at stake here. Now, again, I told you I was kind of excited earlier because I don't know who has the advantage. Again, we go into another round. I still don't know who really has the advantage.
Right, yeah. So Jonathan had a really good trade in the first engagement, but only running a 2-ship list, things can swing really fast.
Yeah. Any of those stray crits go into Fen on that earlier round, we're looking at a completely different ball game, right?
Yeah.
Something like a damage engine, blinded pilot, or even a direct hit to come down to half changes Jonathan's game plan completely. Fen's unscathed, though. Can afford to be a little bit more aggressive. Arc bumping there. And then here's the Jedi.
And one comment on Chopper, as we're about to see here with the jam, is that as long as it's on a Jedi with the fine-tuned controls, Chopper and the fine-tuned controls are simultaneous effects. And so you can choose to resolve them in either order. So you can actually reposition and change where your range 1 bubble is before you choose who to chopper.
Yeah, and you can see that happening right now with Jake. Jake using fine-tuned controls first to barrel roll.
Looks like they are... So he's taking an action to drop the canisters. Looks like maybe he's skipping over chopper.
There it is. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think I've ever seen spare parts canister drop before.
Well, this is an excellent use of it.
Takes a stress here on Fen, rolls for damage, safe. Now, you got to wonder if Jonathan accounted for that, right?
Yeah.
We certainly didn't. And I think, yeah, skipping right over Chopper. Yeah.
So that ends with Fenn having a stress that maybe wasn't accounted for in Jonathan's plan. But the Fang does have an excellent dial for clearing stress with the 2 hards, 2 banks, and 2 and 3 straights being blue. So there's a lot of opportunity to get rid of that stress here, even by accident. Looking at Obi-Wan's maneuver. Looks like the judge noticed the chopper, and they're rectifying that. And he fins the chopper, or chopper puts the jam on Fenn. And either way, all it will do is clear that that lock that Fenn already took on the debris.
Yeah, and again, the reason we call the judge here over is that it's a jam token, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's sorry, not that's a jam token. It's a must on that jam, right? You have to do it if possible. And the reason is the balance of that card is 0 to 1, so that if you're not in range, you have to jam yourself, right?
Yeah.
It can be a detrimental effect. And we wouldn't want that target lock to be around later and influence the game in any way.
Yeah. All right, so catching back up on the turn after going back and resolving the mandatory chopper effect, taking a lock with Rick after taking the fast straight maneuver to jump over Boba. And we see a 2 straight out of Obi-Wan, and looking at the options here, also going back and putting the free evade on Rick for going fast from the full throttle ship ability.
Right.
So now that the board state has been repaired, looking forward at what Obi-Wan is wanting to accomplish here.
We'll try here. Do you think he has it? Looks really tight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a little divot there.
That little finger of the debris may just give him enough room. And there it is.
Oh, wow, so tight there.
Oh, that's
good eye by
incredible
Jake.
barrel roll.
Yeah. And just going 4 straight, right?
Yep. Boba's saying, I brought Slave 1 so that I could reactively change my banks, but I don't need to.
Yeah. And again, I think this is surprising. I also think the Rick is surprising, right? Both opting to just, get out of there, right?
Yep.
Just go over, not worry about. Might clip the gas cloud here. No, I don't think he's super worried about that. He has the Force here. He's got the rerolls from range 1 enemies.
Yeah, he wasn't too worried about bumping, certainly not worried about going on a gas cloud.
Yeah.
And then this does put him in a position to go ahead and take those rear arc shots. And the Fire Spray has 3 dice out the back as opposed to the arc's 2 dice out the back.
Yeah. 3, I think, bigger than 2.
Much.
Yeah.
Looks like Fenn is taking a blue maneuver anyway. So he may or may not. They're trying to see if he bumps.
And they're moving like he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like he ends up off of the debris. But if he gets bumped back on that debris, he's going to keep that stress.
Yeah.
And have to roll again.
Now, where's that stress token up top from? Is that just an errant token, or is that on?
That up top, I think, is on Fenn from the debris drop on him.
Oh, okay, so this is the clear, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like he kept the stress. Not.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
he
wonder
was
if it
he was stressed from the previous turn.
Oh, and then the debris.
so
yeah.
he had 2
Good catch,
stress on
Joel.
him.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So it looks like Fen is going to be facing range 1 nose to nose, so to speak, with Obi-Wan, which is where he wants to be.
Yeah. So again, putting
And
it
that
back on the
is
dice can. Oh my goodness.
2 hits, 2 crits,
And no crack shot, right?
no crack shot, out of bullseye.
Yep. So
That is
3 shields.
half points on Obi-Wan.
God, just on 1 shot.
So Fen showing just how much of a wrecking ball he can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake probably glad there he took Delta 7, Delta B. Sure. And then this is Obi, right?
Yeah, Obi into Fen and Concordia
Concordia
face-off.
So
Safe.
tough. How many times has Jake shot Fen now to no avail?
Three times.
Yeah. And Boba, he was asking about the arc's damage. Might take it again, right?
Yeah, the Ark's sitting on 2 hull. So it's certainly possible to go ahead and kill him here with a shot from Boba.
And while he's thinking, I think Luke is commenting that's a really nice Obi-Wan Kenobi paint job. Hey, I
Yep.
wonder if Luke probably did that.
So looking at the ranges and the angles, trying to decide what his best option is for his Boba shot.
Now, again, the arc is on 2. Is he pondering shooting?
Yeah, he's
he's
trying to
thinking
see
about
if
Obi-Wan, yeah.
maybe he goes ahead and kills him.
And
Nope.
Obi-Wan has no regen. So that's
Correct.
important, too. So this half points, it's sticking, right?
It's for real.
Yeah. No way to go back above.
Yeah. It's not a fake half. It's a real half.
I had a game earlier, one of my buddies told me he was losing pretty badly, and then Obi-Wan ran away to regen and looked up and goes, so I tabled you, right? To avoid the half point. It's got to be demoralizing, right?
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for those in the chat, all 3 games will be recorded and posted on YouTube in full, right? So don't worry, you won't miss anything. Going for the arc instead after the long thought process there. 40 minutes in the game now. Oh, checking just again to make sure he has all his options. Range 1, it looks like, from our angle on the Jedi. Still holding those 3 dice.
Yeah, it's still deciding on exactly
Palms
who Boba's
back
going to shoot.
down.
You know, right now the momentum, so to speak, is
Oh,
going
changes
into
again.
Obi.
Range 2 on Obi. Oh. Yeah. Gets the reroll there on Boba. Maul.
Trying to decide if he's
Who's
going
the
to
threat
spend
here?
Maul.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
spends it. Make sure there's no other big threat. Oh, no,
no.
Jake.
So that's the blank out, and Obi-Wan is dead.
Absolutely no help there from the dice. Kept the focus around with the Force early. Oh, my goodness. So from full, there's a dead Obi.
So Obi-Wan was really the main threat in Jake's list.
Yeah.
Right? Offensively speaking. So that's quite a blow.
So now you've got the arc, range 1. Just the 2. Yana. Oh, my goodness. God, going. Yeah. And again, good sportsmanship at the table from both players. You love to see it. And again, this is a shared pool, right?
Yep.
That's always part of the mental game, but it's got to be supremely demoralizing
Yeah.
to lose an Obi-Wan like that on 3 blanks. And then to see Jonathan just throw down 2 evades there. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
We all understand that. But in the heat of a moment, in heat of a round 7 win and in game to the second day of Worlds, it's so tough. Got to maintain your composure, right?
Yeah,
if
above
you're Jake
all.
here, yeah.
Above all, because the minute that you accept defeat, then you really don't have a chance.
Yeah, and again, look at the tools that Jake has around, right? He's got the jam on perpetually, right? How many times has Fenrir we've clenched at this crit, right? Any stray crit that goes through, again, can change the game. 69 points. Won't get him the full way back to 87, but
Yep.
it's a good start, and it's really only 4 health.
Yeah.
Now, again, on the other side, Jonathan probably sees this and goes, hey, I'm really far ahead now. The arc is kind of easy pickings, right?
Yeah,
If he
yeah.
needs more points, but he doesn't necessarily need it. Can 5 straight, get out of town, right?
He can, but like with the position of Rick and the Jedi Knight, and the fact that the arc has no way to stop again, like it has to go straight. Fen is really safe in just taking this one hard here,
Yeah, that's right.
and then he can just go ahead and do the 2 more damage to the arc and nab those extra points. And then at that point, Fen and Boba don't really have to engage anymore.
Right. And here comes the procs. First charge of procs on for Boba.
So they're looking to see if it reaches the arc, and if it does, that could be a dead arc right there.
It could, but if it's not, it has to hit Fen, right?
Yeah.
Really risky play here from Jonathan. Even ahead, it looks like it from our angle. Okay.
And it touches the arc. So that again, we saw a Decimator Soontir list earlier in the day and commented that in 2 ship lists, you're really reaching for extra sources of damage output, and those proximity mines are doing that in this Boba Fett list.
Yeah, and again, it's 2 dice plus 1 here.
Yep. And no extra damage.
No extra damage. Takes the 1, though.
Takes the 1.
Yeah. So Arc lives now. Jonathan probably hoping for the Arc to die on that one.
Yeah. We're looking like 4K out of the arc.
That seems to make sense.
Yeah, hoping to get out and then contribute something with its main gun.
Yeah.
So Jedi coming in with a 1 hard, looking to jam something again.
Fine tune and jam again. Cleared the lock from Fen, so Boba has that lock for the jam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a chopper on the jam. Oh no, goes on Fen
Yep.
again, right?
Because Boba still has that lock.
Oh, you're
to,
right.
to
I didn't.
clear it off.
I didn't remember that Fen was there.
Yeah, this lock right here, jam protection.
Yep. Again, really savvy from Jonathan early on. I think everyone we've seen who has played against Chopper knows lock that rock.
Yeah.
It's a good T-shirt, I think.
So doing a 3 Talon roll with Rick. Yeah, with this debris drop here, now he has this whole big area that he can't go into.
Yeah.
So keeping it farther back so he has space to do a 3 bank here and clear the stress.
So we're seeing Slave 1 now, rotating from left to right.
Yeah, wants to get nice and personal with that Jedi Knight.
Yeah. And again, Jonathan's ahead. Doesn't necessarily need to be, but looks like he wants to close the game out. Looks like he's ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And again, no actions from the cloud. Here comes 2 bank. Fen clears that last stress.
Yeah.
Now again, takes any tokens here, just going to be jammed away.
Now he can reposition and then clear the jam.
Right. Or just reposition. Maybe don't stress yourself, and then the jam will just fall off, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
No reason to take the stress. You know, we talked earlier about Fen kind of being the trade piece if you've got to trade a piece. But he kind of offered up Fen, and Fen's greens were just good enough, and Fen's ability and the ship ability were just good enough that he didn't actually have to trade.
Yeah.
And so at this point, being up, Fen has just enough maneuverability to decline trading.
Right. And people who are coming into this game, perhaps you're joining the stream first time, or you're watching on YouTube and just getting here, this game looks like a blowout. in no way did it feel like a blowout, right?
Yeah.
All those shots on Fen early on, all those crits that could have gotten in, Jonathan just had one more, right? You talked about Concordia, just one more, right? It
Yeah.
was never in abundance, right? And again, Obi-Wan alive with just one more. Really close game despite what the scoreline says.
Right. So Rick looking to take a shot. He'll get his ability on either target.
So going on Fen, range 3 here. Yeah, had the target lock early on Fen. Oh.
There we go. So here's that crit again.
Clench. Oh, almost, but
And
does
one
take
makes
the
it
crit.
in.
Yeah.
Direct
Direct hit.
hit.
That's half points. There's a start, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, just 35 points, but it's a start.
Not making any progress on Boba's shields
Yeah.
earlier on. Just puts Jake in a poor position to come back. But he still has a full half an hour.
Yeah, so fully modded here with the reroll, using Maul and Fearless. This is on to the Jedi. Oh, no.
So
He doesn't have a force, but he has the focus.
has the focus.
Or else he'll die. Goes
So
down to 1.
now the Jedi, since the Jedi didn't die, he's actually in a really good position to continue harassing Fen.
Right.
And just bypass Boba entirely and run up there to jam Fen again.
Yeah. Just the 2 to Boba. Boba has a reroll here. Has 1. And no other mods there.
Oh,
Yep,
and that
takes
is the
1.
that is the first non-evade that Boba has rolled.
Yeah.
And that much health behind 2 agility can last, I should say, much longer than you would hope.
It's maddening. You and I have played games like that where we've had 2 agility ships and it just keeps rolling 1 or then sometimes spiking at 2
Yeah.
or just always having eyeballs and you're just looking for those blanks, right? Jake's probably looking on the other side going, wish I could have gotten a few of those right in this time. But yeah, and again, it has the hull upgrade too. I think moves the threshold for half up to 1 there, right? 10
Yeah,
to
so
11, so 5 to
right.
6.
Right. So looking at win condition here, looks like you could keep Rick alive fairly well.
Yeah. Rick is probably the least of Jonathan's concerns,
Yeah.
right? Unless makes a really aggressive play with Boba, like the 1 hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I really do like the 1 hard out of Boba this turn because he's got options in either direction because he should have room to 1 hard up here if he wants to. Of course, the problem with that is if he wants to press his advantage against the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Knight comes here, then either of those hards leaves him in the blind spot.
Yep. Do you still like the Jedi Knight jam play here onto Fen? I think that's where you need to begin, right?
I think so. You've got the advantage on Fen right now. Jamming at this point does nothing to Boba, right? Because he's got that lock right here that he set up at the beginning of the game, right? And so you're not going to have that Jedi Knight much longer, right? And so you probably don't bother knocking off that lock. You really want to shoot in on Fen while you still have the chance.
Yeah, and for newer players, that's why it's so important. Turn 1 things, right? Really early in the game, inconsequential target locks, influencing a game now with 28 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
Having that Boba that just never having the opportunity to jam probably won't have the opportunity now, right?
Yeah.
Because every net round now is so influential. Jonathan looking at Boba here. Wants to make sure he sees the field.
And another thing that we haven't seen out of Boba yet is the fact that he has a white boost, right?
That's right, yeah.
So he's got the passive rerolls from his ability. He's got the passive focus mod from Mall Crew, and then he is free to use his boost to put himself in those range 1 positions.
Yeah. And here's the arc looking to clear. Yep. That's as fast as it can go.
Yeah. Jedi coming up with the 3 straight.
Wonder if he has range 1. Oh, wait. Fine-tune controls,
Fine-tune
right?
controls.
Always has fine-tune controls.
He can barrel roll down and get range 1.
Yeah. And there's the jam onto
chooses
Boba.
to chopper Boba. Looks like they're not removing the lock on it. We'll see if they catch that later.
Yeah. And again, that is mandatory, so let's see if that's influential at all.
So the Jedi Knight using fine-tuned controls to barrel roll on down and taking the focus and hoping to live on 1 hull. Also trying to get arc here on Fenn. Doing the 3 bank with Rick. There's that jam and the target lock getting cleared.
And again, we do this when we have a stream. Again, because the stakes are so high, we just want to make sure that the board state is represented correctly.
Yeah. Looks like Rick makes it past the debris by a hair. Gets the free evade for going fast. Then has an option for his action. Taking the lock on Fenn, really trying to press his advantage while he's got Fenn turned the other way.
Yeah.
Boba doing the 1 bank.
Yeah, still has that rear arc, yeah.
Yeah. Preserving a shot on the Jedi Knight.
Do you think the Prox Mine would have hit there? No, it probably hits Fenn instead, right?
The Prox Mine maybe hits Fenn. And if he does that, then on average Fenn dies.
Yeah.
And that
probably not good, right?
Yeah. So yeah, with those Prox Mines, it's certainly something that you have to practice in order to eyeball like where it will land.
Yeah.
Because they have a different sort of shape than anything else that you use.
Right.
Fenn coming in with the 2 hard, not looking good for the Jedi Knight.
Is it a 2 hard?
Oh,
it's a 2 talent,
talon
yeah.
roll. Even worse.
This is really tough. He has Concordia face off.
Yeah.
No other mods here. Maybe has crack shot too. Again, initiative kill is in play here for the Jedi.
Absolutely.
For Fenn on the Jedi Knight.
So Fenn rolling 5 dice, no modification. We've seen 4 hits and crits out of both of his other range 1 shots so far. We'll see if his luck can hold out. And almost.
Yep.
So
hit
2 hits
crit.
and a crit. Need a perfect roll. Doesn't get it.
Just takes the crit. And the margins are so thin here, right, for Jake. Every time we've had one attack, just 1 more, right?
Yeah.
Just 1 more.
Yeah. So that Talon roll was really well executed. It gives him the cloud obstruction there, and that mitigates the not being at range 1 danger mode that Fenn gets into.
Yeah, so 3 here gets the Rick bonus. Jonathan gets the cloud, so 4 target lock.
And clouds for 2.
Yeah.
All right, so the arc firing range 3 obstructed at Boba, so that's going to be 3 into 4. With Boba having a single reroll and a force.
Force.
And one more shield
Another
onto
shield, yeah.
Boba.
You know, it feels tough to do these one shield at a time, but you just have to keep plowing away here, right, if you're Jake.
Yeah.
You can somehow get Fen off the board. Oh, it's just so unlikely, especially with the higher initiatives, right, that Fen has.
If Jake can clear Fen, and he still has 22 and a half minutes, right?
Right.
If he can clear Fen and he can continue to leverage Rick's ability, then he has the capacity to push damage into Boba.
Yeah, again, if he does, he has to make sure he doesn't lose the arc here, right?
Right.
Again, when you're in this type of position as a player, when you have it all on the line, 10% awful, right? But you have to find ways to get that 10% to 15, the 15 to 20, right?
Yeah. So what do you think out of Boba here? Do you take the one hard to try to catch arc on the arc? Or do you just go for a straight maneuver to try to get back arc on Rick?
I'm looking at the K turn here. I don't like the one hard as much, again, because this debris was dropped here, right?
Right.
I don't know, and again, it depends on the angle, but I don't know if I have room to do that, to do another turn above that. Maybe I can roll the debris, maybe I don't care, but I don't think, I think the safest play is a 4K for me, right?
Okay.
Let's see where Rick is going, let's see where the arc is going. Gark has to go straight, and then next turn, I can come back in and do any cleanup as needed.
Right.
I'm confident in Fenn's ability to either trade equally, right, if Fenn goes down. We talked about Fenn being a trade piece here, right?
Yeah.
Can definitely just be a trade piece to just finish the game. MOV does not matter. Jonathan wins, and he gets to play tomorrow.
Seeing a 3 straight out of the arc, going as fast as he can and still get an action.
Yeah, looks like to me it's a target lock, right? You've got it all on the line. You've got 1 health left.
Well, he's taking the focus.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, statistically, they have the same impact as long as you weight hits and crits equally.
Yeah. And here's Rick maybe going in for the block.
It looks like that's a Talon roll.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that looks like it will block the 2 bank. That's certainly what he wants. Talon roll.
3 hard, yeah. Oh, no, is that Talon rolls all around?
So it looks like he's got obstruction on the arc. So assuming that Fenn does the 2 bank here, right, and gets blocked up, Boba is really looking to clear the arc this turn. Just needs 1 damage in there to protect Fenn from getting shot. Right. But Jake has done a good job of maximizing his odds of getting to shoot because he's going to have this obstruction right here, and he's got the focus token. So he's going to get to roll 2 greens. And, you know, it's not a great chance, but he has maximized those chances.
Right. So Fenn now.
So it looks like it was the 2 bank, and he's got the block.
So Fenn, nothing. Now Boba.
Starting with Rick.
No, yeah, Rick. Again, yeah. Matching 3s here on the Talons means no Rick bonus. It is range 2, though, so 2 versus 2. No re-rolls, but does have the force for Boba. Rick, no modifications as well. Just 1. Yep.
And 1 of it.
Yep.
All right, and then looks like the range 2 obstructed there. So he really needs to see some blanks out of Boba here. All right, if he rolls perfect, he's still got it.
Needs paint here. Has the focus for defense.
And no paint.
And there goes the arc.
So at this point, he was really hoping to trade the arc for Fenn.
Yeah.
Right? So looking at the comeback now, you have to be much more cagey with Rick, right? You can't afford to just sit around and get hammered by both ships at the same time.
Yeah.
And so he has to continue to proc his ability to get extra dice, go fast also to get the free evade, because he has to preserve his own life if he's going to be able to do anything to these ships.
Right.
And try to maneuver around and produce opportunities to take shots of opportunity. Boba at half is still 68, 67 points, plus the enormous bid, right?
Yeah, and so I'm looking at the math here. 126 total if he kills Finn and halves Boba in the next 17 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not enough here, but look, when you're on the line here, you just have to play. Like, you're here to play X-Wing, here to play. I know a lot of times when we talk like this about a game, it's like, well, the game is really over. And it's like, yeah, well, maybe you feel that way, but this is the final round of a world championship.
Yep.
Look, you're gonna 1% is 1%, right? You continue to play, right? Doesn't matter what the odds are. And I really like the way Jake has played. You know, I don't think Jake has made necessarily a ton of mistakes. It hasn't worked out in him from certain cases, and that is snowballed. But again, I think Jake is doing a good job of maximizing those low odds that he has right now.
Yeah, I agree. So here, again, you see him going in for the block, trying to make sure that he preserves his ship's life for this turn, as he's really vulnerable to getting shot by both ships here with the positioning.
Right.
And so he's just looking to avoid getting shot at all. And what Jonathan has the luxury at this point of being okay with not shooting at Rick as long as Rick isn't shooting at him.
Yeah, Jonathan's in the driver's seat. Jonathan can just fly away. He can try to end the game. He's holding all the cards right now. Train tracks were out. Train tracks removed. And then let's see Finn just do the... Oh, okay.
Does the two straight.
Yeah.
Looking to create some room for himself.
Yeah. And they'll go back to Dallas here. 15, yeah, target lock for the next round.
Yeah. Still 15 minutes left in this game. We're seeing Jake is in the position where he has to kill both ships to win.
Yep.
So he has a certain amount of damage. He has to do 11 damage.
Yep.
Right? And assuming he gets his ability off every turn, that is a minimum of 4 shots.
Yeah.
Right? So he's got 15 minutes left. That's if they play really fast, that's maybe 5 rounds, probably more like 4 rounds.
Yeah.
So that's a shot a round. So he has to absolutely maximize his time on target.
Yeah, and there's the official timer calling for 15 minutes left in the round. Again, if I was in Jake's shoes here, I'd keep playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's Boba Fett. Dials are set. Do you go over the debris if you're Rick here?
I think Rick probably because you're in a position where you just have to shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
3 Talon.
I think you 3 Talon.
Yeah.
Oh, he goes through the
there
debris.
goes debris. Oh, checking for that prox mine.
Thinking he dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
So he is doing the Talon roll.
Yep. Double stress. Yeah.
Is trying to maximize his time on target here, but avoiding that bomb. And like I said earlier, it makes the person with the fragile ships have to play differently just because he knows those bombs
exist. Yeah, and again,
exist.
Jonathan didn't drop it, right?
Yeah.
But
which
it
means
still influenced the board state.
And that means he still has it, and so it will continue to influence
Can
the
still
board
threaten,
state.
yeah. 4K with Boba. Jonathan, look, he's not playing around. He wants to end this game.
Yeah.
Do I expect a 2 hard here or a 1? 3.
3 hard.
Got the 1 and the 2, but
Yeah.
not quite the 3.
Yeah, he was looking at that Talon roll too and saying, I want to turn off that ability.
Yeah.
You want to go fast? Let's go fast.
Yeah. Wondering, yeah, it just takes the focus here.
So at this point,
So range 3 through a cloud, no Rick here. 2 on 4, has the auto convert, has them all, no damage.
so range 2 through the cloud. 4-1 should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only roll in which he takes damage from that shot is 4 focus,
Oh,
which can happen.
I really don't want to look up the odds on that one.
It's low.
Yeah. Oh. Again, if you're just tuning in with us at the last portion of the day, this is the last round of day 1B. Winner goes in, losers world's run ends here. And so, yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been a really tough game here. If you're just joining the fight, or sorry, just joining the match here, 157 to, and it feels sometimes like a heavyweight fight, right,
Yeah,
Joel?
yeah.
So 157 to 35 here. It looks like a blowout. Jonathan is completely in the driver's seat here, but Jake has just been one away, right? It's a common theme in this game. One crit away, right? One evade away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just been one after another, and each time that it didn't pan out, just snowballed and kept pushing him further and further behind.
Exactly. And so, does the 2 bank there again? From win conditions, if you're just joining us, Jonathan's win condition, just continue flying around, right? Just
Right.
continue not losing a ship. Maybe not losing Fen here, but Jake, the onus is on Jake here to punch through, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 on Fen, but needs to kill Boba to get the points necessary to win.
Right.
And for those who weren't with us beginning, Jonathan's list 182, so taking an 18-point bid. That's coming into play here, right? We originally thought half on Fen, half on Boba could do it. I think that's pretty realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But being able to kill both of those with just one ship at a time is really difficult.
Right. There's a bit of a bump with a forceful token push.
Yep.
Correcting the board state.
Oh, and there's the 1 hard. Fen looking to finish this game out. Jonathan, I really appreciate not wanting to run away, really putting the foot on the gas pedal here. Again, MLV doesn't matter, right? If you continue taking these 70% odds that you're going to win these fights, that can close out a game.
Yeah. Fen has range 2. Only went speed 1.
So
Rick
Rick
went
is
speed
on.
2.
Yeah.
So his ability's on. Oh,
Hit,
2 hits and a crit.
Yeah, Rick at full here. So 2 shields, not quite half yet. Again. And again, if you're watching this on replay, if you're just joining us here on stream, I really love that they're continuing to fight here, right? I think a lot of times, a lot of players look at the sports thing and go, no, I don't want to do this. I'm really proud. Like, Jonathan is keeping the offensive pressure on, right?
Yep.
Jonathan's not running away. We've seen that a couple times on stream where players got an advantage of saying, you know what, I don't have to play. And that's a very valid strategy.
Right.
Jonathan's saying, yeah, I'm up, and I'm trying to end the game. Like, I'm trying to fight. I'm continuing to engage. I have the advantage in all these fights. And Jake's saying, yeah, it's a 1%. Guess what? I'm still taking the 1%, right? Over and over again, opting into that.
So looking at the options that Jake has this turn, he's wanting to preserve his life, right? He ended up stressed from last turn because he had 2 stress Talon rolling through the debris. So he's looking to maybe get some blocks. The most important thing that he wants to avoid is this 1 turn right here.
Yep.
So maybe we're looking at a 2 bank and barrel roll back in.
Yeah, the important part here is, if possible, take shots on 1, right? Take 1-on-1s at a time at worst, right?
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is take 2 shots at a time here, and then your tournament's run is over.
Right. But I think what he's gonna have problems with is, I don't know that there's any way to avoid taking a really bad shot from one or the other of them if we see a 1 hard here.
Yeah.
Out of Boba, so he's going to be looking back that way, and then a 1 hard here.
Yeah, and we've seen Slave 1 come into play before, right?
Yeah.
And you know, depending on what Rick does here, Jonathan can always slave one into the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and plenty of options there. Not dropping the prox mine here again. We've heard Jake talk about how that influences decision.
Yeah.
Safe here with the bank over. Is it a 3? Does he get the evade?
I think it was a 2. See as they.
Yeah.
Which doesn't get the evade. But at the angle that he's at, if he did a 3, he might not be able to turn back onto the board.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and he's going to take the boost.
Mm-hmm. Just
Yeah,
trying
getting
to
around,
create more
yeah.
distance.
Oh, and there's the slave one in play,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Think he had gone
he
the
had
other
a-
way and
yeah.
now goes this way. Has that back arc now, right? Not the best shot, right? But still keeping pressure.
Right.
If there's one thing Jonathan has done really well in this back half of the game is continuing to pressure, right? There's never been a real comfortable moment for Jake, right? He had to talon roll over debris
Yeah.
just to get some, you know, breathing room.
Absolutely. So here we see that boost for the first time out of Boba.
Yeah.
Putting him in a position to be able to come right up in here next turn and threaten everywhere that Rick can go.
Yeah, just really good fundamental X-Wing coming out of here. And we're going to boost here. Link. Oh, yeah, linked into it.
Yep, yep. So that looks like maybe
Range
just
2?
outside of range 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Range 2. So,
Oh.
2 and a crit. Rick's ability is on.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Going from the 1 and the
Yep,
2, right? So
yep.
we'll have 3 here. Oh, okay,
No,
just
2.
the crit. Yeah.
So he just takes the crit. Now that does give up half points on Rick, but that is not really consequential here
Yeah.
because his win condition was already killing both ships.
Exactly. And still, win condition here, kill both ship, still in play. Oh, did we look for crack shot? Oh, he looks like he had crack shot. Again, same win condition here
Yep,
stays the same,
yep.
right? Yeah. And Jake's saying, hey, don't worry about it. He's got it.
Yeah.
They've had incredible sportsmanship all game, right? So 5 minutes left in the round here. Jake on the table is saying there's reasons I don't want to just die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned faction prizes. That's one thing that FFG has been doing in the latter half of the season, is that they've been giving out faction prizes based on the faction that you are playing and how you place relative to the other players just in that faction.
Yeah.
And so Jake is looking at this situation, knows that it's really not a good position for him in terms of winning this game, but he's trying to preserve as much MOV as possible in order to boost his standings, in order to hopefully get some of that additional faction
Yeah,
pricing.
and if you've been with us throughout all day in the LCQ and day 1 yesterday, you'll notice there's a ton of diversity right now, right?
Right.
Ton of diversity throughout the meta. I think in part that's due to no one really knowing what's good yet and
Yeah.
bringing whatever they're comfortable with, what I like. But it's in part due to knowing there's not just one prize pool set, right?
Yeah.
A lot of players are playing FO. I know Chris Allen played FO just so he can get those FO prizes. That's what he really wanted. And you know what? He was eliminated fairly early on and kept playing to get those FO prizes. So
Right.
really good job. Kudos to FFGOP for doing that. And looks like nice little kill box here on Rick.
Yep. Rick's ability will be on for all of it. Has
Spends
the
target
lock.
lock. Focus.
And
Thorn,
there is no
crit.
way out of this,
Yeah, I
even with
think
3
that's
dice.
it, yeah. Spends the evade token. GG handshake comes out. From a point standpoint, fairly lopsided, but I think Jake flew well.
Yeah.
Right? I think Jake had a lot of interesting moves. We got to see the chopper on that Jedi Knight. He's had a really good run here.
Right.
Congratulations, of course, to Jonathan, 5-2. He's going to be playing tomorrow. Jake's day ends here. He'll wait around for the faction prizes, maybe come back tomorrow to play again. But again, really a treat game for us, right, to watch. Okay. And so with that, I think we're going to call it. We're going to pass it back up to Dion here We've had a great day, you and I, streaming 7 rounds of X-Wing.
7 rounds.
7 rounds tomorrow to go for those who qualify.
Yeah.
You're watching the Gold Squadron podcast. Use our promo code WORLDS2019 on curlpaulcreatives.com for 15% off your order. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Twitch. Follow us on Facebook. You know the social media at this point, right? And from both of us, thank you guys so much. We're going to pass it back to Dion. You guys have a great night.